Alright, what's up guys? I'll be ranking every single weapon in Pixel Blade, all 52 of them, in a tier list. And first of all, I have some rules. Basically, all the weapons are expected to be at max level when compared to each other. And then for the Vaulted, Divinity, and Void Reaver, I'll be ranking it with the armor because that's how it's like expected to be used. And then just know that all these rankings are subjective, but I'm pretty sure a ton of people will agree with it, especially since I'll be giving explanations and some examples too. So starting us off, we have Divinity, the best weapon in the entire game. Unfortunately, it's a vaulted, so you can no longer obtain it, but let's look at the stats of it. So first of all, it's a spear, which is arguably the best weapon type in the entire game. Then it has 30% flame, so take the 700 damage it normally deals and add 30% onto that. And then it has a 50% crit rate, so normally you're dealing around 900 damage every hit, but every other hit you're dealing 1200. Now onto the abilities. So the first ability is large scale AoE, and the second ability is kind of focused damage, but it's also pretty high in AoE. Also, the first ability gives you shield, which protects you from losing spirits when you get hit. It also gives your teammate shield and gives them speed. Also a 10% damage boost, and both of these abilities, if you have rage spirits, it'll add them onto the damage of the abilities. So Divinity's S tier because I meant the best in the game because of how much damage it does, the speed you get, the shield you get, and the damage boost you get from the first ability. Second ability is a little lacking, but it's still useful in certain scenarios, and overall it's just really easy and simple to use. Also, you don't even have to worry about getting hit since you won't lose spirits. Next up, we have another spear. Remember, that's the best weapon type in the entire game. It gets S tier because it's World 4, so remember all World 4 weapons, pretty sure all of them can inflict bleed, which is just more damage, and then they're all high in damage because of scaling. Then the ability, you hit 3 enemies and the electricity chains between them. It's just really good for group damage, not so good for single target damage, but the group damage is actually insane. Next we have Hellscape. It beats out It beats out Eye of Smite because the beam is just really good for everything. You could run away and use your beam. You could use your beam and still be attacking. So the damage is really high from the beam. Also, the beam pierces enemies, so it's good in like AoE damage and also single target damage. Next, we have our first A tier, which might shock some people because of how dominant Ice Spear was with the release of World 3. It had 2 really good things for it. It was a spear, so high damage, and then it also had insane stun with the ability. But the release of World 4 honestly hurt it a ton, since now the weapons of World 4 outdamage it, and it can't stun all the World 4 enemies. So it's still dominant from Worlds 1 through 3, but if like you try to use it in World 4 against the bosses, it's not going to work out. Next we have Blood Moon and Echo of the Slain. If I can put it here, please. Alright, there we go. I'll be ranking these together because they are the most brain dead combo in the entire game. I just can't ignore that. If you use Blood Moon ability when somebody's in Echo of the Slain Shadow, and it doesn't matter what the Blood Moon user does as long as they don't die, the Echo of the Slain user just stays in their Shadow Realm and can kill everything, and the Blood Moon ability keeps going because the Echo of the Slain user is killing enemies. Now, it might have been bottom of S tier because you would need somebody else, but now with the weapon swap game pass, you can literally just do it yourself. And for the people that are wondering, where would these rank if they're not together, because like you want to use them solo, probably go bottom of S tier for Blood Moon, and then Echo of the Slain would either go high B tier, like really, actually, I would say honestly, top of A tier. Yeah, top of A tier, because you can run it with Blood Moon armor instead of Blood Moon weapon. Next up, we have another vaulted. This is Void Reaver. The addition of breakables made this weapon so good. A ton of other weapons, let's just say for example, Stellar is now like B tier because of the breakables. But for Void Reaver, it's absolutely broken. You can literally take a soul from the breakable somehow, which I don't understand. But the first ability, you take the soul from the breakables, and then you just pop your second ability, which uses those souls, but clears the entire room for you usually. And if you're in easier modes where your first ability can clear an entire room, you just cycle those abilities. You don't even need recovery. Maybe like recovery 1 or 2, but you just cycle first ability, next room, second ability, and then just keep going like that. And it's really quick and easy. However, it doesn't beat I've Smite because it doesn't have high enough damage without that. If you were to go into harder game modes, it would be harder to do the cycling, or sometimes impossible, because those enemies just don't die to your first ability or second ability anymore. Now we have a victim of the breakables, Bat Axe. Gets the very bottom of S tier. It would have been higher, but the breakables kind of griefed it, because instead of attacking enemies, your bats will attack the breakables. Yeah, it will attack the breakables. So not only do you lose out on damage, actually you lose out on healing, because if your bats attack a breakable, then you don't get any heals from that directly unless those breakables give you health, which you would have already gotten if you just break it normally. However, it still has really high damage from the ability. It knocks enemies back. There's a ton of tech you can do with it to be safe. So if you run this with like a power ring and a lot of recovery, you just win, because the ability spam for this weapon is just insane. And then also, if you're ever low and you don't have like weapon swap, you can just hide behind like a pillar or something and just pop your ability so that the bats would go out and heal you, as long as there's enemies. Now we have our first ever vaulted. It gets right behind right behind Ice Spear, because the M1 damage is slow. Actually, there's never been a more ability carried weapon or ability reliant weapon than Blackstar. That, like, it's a great sword and the damage does like, and damage from it is like 350, but the ability is like 2000 something or more if you combo both together, which you're supposed to do. And so yeah, actually yeah, it gets here because the M1 is so terrible, but the abilities are absolutely insane. The first one just pulls them in, and the second one is an insanely long beam. Now we have the fraud of a vaulted, Excalibur. It was early tester exclusive and only devs have it now, but it's trash. You would never want this other than to flex. It deals 100 damage and it can't change. You know why? It's stuck at level 3 for some reason. And then the ability is just Nightmare Blade's ability, but a little bit better. If you want a example of how bad it is, I would consider myself a pretty good player, but it took 20 minutes to beat World 2 Nightmare with this weapon, and it was miserable, bro. Honestly, this weapon's just so boring. I wish like the devs actually paid some attention to it, and maybe that's because I'm biased because I have it. Whoa, must have been the win. Now for Phantom Scythe, I would say bottom of A tier. I was pretty harsh on the rating before. I think I gave it like C or B tier, but now I see it can do some pretty good damage, but it honestly depends how you use the ability. If you're using the ability from far range to damage enemies and like not get close to them, I would honestly say like C or even D tier, because that's just super duper slow. But if you're going in aggressive and like using your dashes, using your rolls, but then when you're in danger you just pop your ability real quick to get out, then that's really nice. I think that's how this weapon is supposed to be used. And then also if you're like pretty low on HP, you can just heal yourself to full, and then the speed boost is pretty mid. And also if you use this weapon to troll your friends, like the secret room in World 4, bouncing them into the pit, fudge, F tier, bro. Now Scarlet Rose, don't tell Fudge this, it's A tier. It's absolutely broken, bro. I'm pretty sure the damage per hit can get up to over 2,000, like 2.5 thousand damage per hit. And then yeah, that's basically all I have to say about it. The ability's absolutely busted. Why is the crit chance a 75% when this weapon's ability needs crit? Like you just want it to be overpowered. You only need like 2 banners to almost get 100% crit chance. Now we have what I think is probably the most skilled weapon, Ghost Katana. You have to line the enemies up, and then you have to line them up again for the second ability. Then you also have to, like, you can't just use both your abilities, because then sometimes that leaves you with no way to get out if you're in the middle of the enemies. So I think this it forces you to think, and if you do think, it's worth it. But that would only put it at B tier for me, because that'd be too much work for too little reward. But the weapon heals you and it stuns enemies, so it makes it a little safer, and also it gives you survivability. So I think it's A tier. Like, you can master it, but unfortunately it won't be as good as the weapons in S tier. It will still be good though, and it is really fun to use. Now, Vampire Axe is the definition of seeing red. I think I'll put this one at close to bottom of A tier, because yes, you do heal a ton when you pop your ability and hit enemies. Also, you do a ton of damage, but it really doesn't last for that long, and it's a great sword for some reason. If it was like a scythe, like a great sword meaning like it takes a long time to swing again. If it was like medium time to swing again, I'm pretty sure I would like bump it up like over here. But also you need enemies to heal, so yeah, I think this is pretty deserved. You get a ton of damage, you get a ton of healing, you just see red for a bit, and then after that you kind of got a slow weapon that doesn't really have any range. Now Dragonheart, our first B tier, only use this weapon if you have friends. What it does is it puts a ring around you of fire, which is pretty mid, but the important stuff is that it speeds up 2 teammates, and it increases the fire damage of 2 teammates, and if they don't have fire damage, it gives them fire damage. So you're gonna want to run this in trios. Like for example, somebody runs Hellscape and somebody runs Dragonheart to boost the fire damage from Hellscape. And if you don't have friends, you're just boosting yourself. I would put in C tier, but B tier is pretty nice. It could be bottom of A tier if you have a really good team. Now, my favorite weapon, Imperialist. Unfortunately, it goes into B tier. Before, well, okay, not before. Actually, it is still S tier, in my opinion, for World 1 and World 2. Basically, any world where a single pop of the ability instantly clears rooms. But can't really compete in like World 4. You can clear, it just takes a lot of time. And also World 3, especially in those nightmare modes where the armor the enemy gets is insane. So, unfortunate. Also, there's currently a bug as I'm making this video that the breakables eat the lightning, like it just stops the chain. If that bug does not get fixed, it is going straight to C tier or even D tier, because you need this chain. It's a great sword. Without that chain, it's gonna take quite a while to clear rooms. Now for Nightmare, it gets C tier, first C tier. The ability is actually really good. On like, let's just say a spear, that would go crazy. Because like, it's just a giant area that gets stunned. However, the M1 damage for it is too low. And I think that's what holds it back. Also, I honestly feel like the ability pops too quickly. Because like, you kind of want to get in the middle of enemies so that you stun everyone and you can just hard focus on an area. So I feel like it pops too quickly and doesn't give you enough time to get to the enemies, because like you need to burn a dash to get to them. Anyways, it's a World 1 epic. Nobody was expecting anything from it anyways. Now for Stellar, this is so unfortunate, man. The breakables absolutely ruined it. Like before, you're guaranteed to hit every single one of your stars. Now a breakable, I swear to God, every time I pop the ability, a breakable just takes one of the stars. And if a breakable takes one of your stars for the ability, you lose a quarter of your damage. And you don't get to choose which enemies like it goes towards. So when you pop the ability, it's just you're praying that you don't hit any breakables, you only hit enemies. Now the Dev Blade. If you're here, you probably decided to watch the video instead of skipping to the end, so thank you. And if you skip to the end and then skip to this part to find out what the Dev Blade is, come on bro, just watch my video. I spent so much time on it. Basically, the Dev Blade, you can only get it with commands. So in the main server, only people with access to commands like, let's just say Fudge, Comet, those people, they get to have it. And that means that testers have it because they can use commands in testing servers obviously, but they can't bring it to main servers. What the weapon does though is it's basically, what is it, wooden sword, except it just does like 5,000 damage per hit. Now the glorious vertebral sword. Before nerf, this weapon was S tier. It's better, it was better than Deathblade and better than Divinity. I'm not even joking. A common weapon and better than both. But now, whew, I'm just gonna move it down, man. Oh my gosh, bro. It only hits 5 enemies now. The range is decreased by so much. And it decides to pull breakables. And the worst part is, it doesn't even move the breakables. So you're just wasting a hook on nothing. I just wish this weapon was never nerfed, bro. It was so fun to use. The combos you could do with this, man. You could pull all the enemies in a room and pop like Echo is the same. I have Smite, then everything disappears. You can use Vertebral Sword and combo with Ice Spear, then the entire like room of enemies just froze, man. This weapon was amazing and it was like common. But now with the nerfs and the addition of breakables, then Vertebral Sword deciding to choose to attack breakables for no reason and not even pulling them in. Oh my gosh. The fall, man. Best all the way down to A. But at least there is some use for this, I guess. You could go to like an area of a room. Even though there's breakables there, you could probably still get like 2 or 3 enemies with it. It stuns. I mean, honestly, this weapon you're not gonna use it in World 4 anymore. Just bring it to like previous worlds, and honestly, that's probably where it'll shine the best because there's smaller rooms and less enemies. Chris Guillotine is pretty brain dead. Like an area around you, if enemies are in there when your ability pops, they just take over 1,400 damage at max, and the ability, like, you recover it pretty quickly, so just keep popping it. I mean, I guess, I don't know, there's like no skill with it other than you just want to get into a group of enemies and use the ability. I honestly feel bad for Excalibur being alone in F tier, so I'm gonna finish up F tier and D tier real quick. Since the weapons are honestly just not that interesting, or you'd never really use them except for really early game. Joining Excalibur in F tier is Dead Stick. If summoning a mushroom was just that, I probably would be fine. And also if the chances weren't so low. But also, you have to gamble for the level of it. So you could summon a paladin, the best possible one, and it comes out as a level 1. So it's just never worth it to use the ability. And if you're not using the ability for a weapon, then why are you using that weapon, right? And the next F tier weapon is Crusher. It's a wannabe bat axe, because you jump in to a group of enemies that you don't get to aim for, so you're probably gonna go in the middle of a group of enemies, and guess what you can't do after? Anything at all. You're just stuck in place. By the way, this is a great sword, so the damage is insanely low. Also, your ability damage isn't even worth it. So, like I said for Dead Stick, if you're not using the ability for a weapon, then why are you using that weapon? And then for D tier, you get Fireblade and Frostblade. These abilities are barely worth popping. It's only worth it if you're gonna guarantee hit 4 enemies, I think. And then it just gets outclassed by everything, which is another reason why it's in D tier. For Bone Blade, honestly, it's just really low DPS. It gives you a lot of shield though, which doesn't matter, because why would you need that? And then yeah, you basically have no reason to pop this. Actually, for survivability, I guess it's okay, but you just progress really slowly if you use this. For the top of D tier, we have Stone Sword and Wooden Sword. Honestly, these are actually worth popping, barely worth popping, but at least they're worth using. And I don't mean in being surrounded by enemies, one-on-one against a zombie, you would be better off using the ability than spamming M1. So it's but barely better than spamming M1. To finish off D tier, we have the Moai Hammer. I don't know the actual name of it. We have Blood Sickle, we have Rapier, we have where's Sinner? We have Sinner. Okay, so Blood Sickle and Moai Hammer, they basically have the same thing, but Sinner does more damage and also has a faster swing speed than Moai. I do not know why, but Sickle is just better than that. Wait, why is Bone up here? I think Bone should go down here then, because there's kind of a reason to pop these abilities actually. I think they should go to top. Yeah, there's a reason to pop them. There's not really a reason to pop these. Actually, for the fire damage spreading and then the ice damage too. The spread amount of damage. And you know what? I'll just put it at the top. Alright, so I spent a little time thinking about D tier weapons, but whatever. Anyways, so Fire and Frost get the top of D tier because they actually deal damage, unlike these, which just tickle enemies. Actually, Blood Sickle and Moai Hammer also deal damage because of their ability. What is this thing? I forgot. Rapier and Sinner, they increase speed, so there's actually a reason to pop these abilities early. A good reason to pop them early, or a good reason to pop them at all. For Stone Sword and Wooden Sword, you barely have a reason. And for Bone, I don't think there's ever a time where the ability is actually useful, unless you can see the future and know that if you don't use that ability, you're gonna die because you're gonna get comboed by enemies. And finishing off D tier, we have Frostbite. This weapon can't even do its job correctly, bro. It's supposed to make a shield that blocks ranged, it can only block like arrows and mage balls. It can't even block mortar shots, and it can't block like Kingslayer throwing his knife. Even with those things fixed, the damage is just not worth it, and there's way better ways to deal with projectiles. Now you know what, while I'm like down here in the dumpster of trash weapons, I think I'm just gonna finish C tier. Scimitar, I'll give it a very top of C tier. The ability is actually really fun to use, and like it actually makes you think, but the damage is not worth it because it's a common, I'm pretty sure. Then we have Wooden Scythe. It goes bottom of C tier. Honestly, it's a great weapon for when you first start off the game to just learn stuff, because if you do get hurt, you just heal up, like run away and heal up, and you don't have to like lose all your progress on like beating that run or like winning in that run. Just like run away, heal up, and fight again. Let's see, I think I'll put Ninja Blade right here. Yeah, because okay, early on it's pretty terrible. You have no stamina, it just burns through all your stamina. This one ability takes away 2 chunks of stamina, like double what it's like supposed to, because you dash forward and dash back. But later on, like when you have enough stamina, it's actually pretty fun to use. Buster would go behind it. You just can't bring this into like any other world, cause it's short range and it swings slow. What else? Shadow, I'll put it here. Yeah, it's not as good as Nightmare, but the damage from it is pretty good. It's like it has the same ability as these two, so wouldn't expect too much from it, but for some reason it actually deals pretty good poison damage for being a World 1 epic. Then Naginata, put it here. Yeah. The ability sucks. You should never be using this ability, pretty sure, unless like you don't have a dash. It's your last escape option. But the thing that's saving it is it's a spear, the best weapon type in the game. And then go Wing Blade over here. It's actually pretty underrated. I personally enjoyed it. I got bored of it pretty quickly though. You just dash forward. It's fun if you get 0 cooldown on it. And then what else? Forged Steel. You don't really have a reason to pop this ability. I don't know. You stun the enemy, you gain shield, and also damage. So I think you're supposed to blindly attack the enemy and just tank your shield. But like, I don't know. Then you lose your spirits. So, and in the game, like you really need spirits. So I think that's it, right? Yeah. But yeah, Force Steel, just the ability's not worth it. I'm pretty sure I'm done with C tier now. For Titan, some people think that it's the best weapon in the entire game, but it's honestly just not that good once you get better weapons. What I mean is, it's a slow weapon because it's a heavy weapon, and then also the ability, it does deal quite a bit of damage, but it's burst damage, and then that just makes it so it takes a while to clear rooms. So yes, it's pretty easy to clear rooms, but it's gonna take a while compared to like, let's just say you're using Divinity, you're using like Eye of Smite. It's gonna probably clear easier because you don't have to think as much, but these will clear faster. Necromancer will be going right behind Stellar, and Golden Hand will be in front of, just in front of Necromancer. The reason for this is that Necromancer is honestly just not as good as Golden Hand. Although Necromancer can heal you, it's really not that good of heals. And then Necromancer is a great sword, which means the DPS is low. It does have poison, but honestly it doesn't help it that much. And Golden Hand, it's a short sword, so you have high DPS, and your summons, you can just use the zero recovery method, where you get recovery 4 and a ring that decreases your cooldown, so you can just keep spamming your summons, and this works really well in raids compared to Necromancer where you need spirits, and if you don't have spirits then you can't summon. Infested Blade will be crowned as the worst legendary in the entire game. The DPS isn't high enough even though it's a short sword, and then the ability targets breakables, which makes it hard to hit enemies, and even if it does hit enemies, it doesn't do that much damage. I never thought this would happen, but Skywatcher is actually better than Stellar. Although Skywatcher is still pretty bad, it's honestly not that good because, okay, your cards help you do more DPS, but if you're running solo, then your DPS is going to be low and it's really not going to help much. However, it does beat out Stellar because Stellar can target breakables. Skywatcher does target breakables, but it instantly breaks it, so it's as if it doesn't exist. And by the way, if you do play Skywatcher with a good team, it can be middle A tier. But this is overall, and as a solo weapon, it really just sucks. Also, collecting the cards takes a while and has like a 20-something second cooldown on your ability. Crystal Scythe will be kind of like at the very bottom of B tier. The ability is almost never really worth using, you just use it to use an ability. It does deal AoE damage around an area and gives you shield, but like it's honestly not worth it to play for that ability. If you use this weapon, it's cause it's the only epic you have, or like, but it's like the best, like highest tier weapon you have is what I mean. There's honestly no other reason to use it. Then for Sandstorm, it's going above Infested just because it has a strat where you just hide behind like something where enemies can't get through or like get to you, like a pillar, and you just spam your ability, like like the old solar strat, and you get free wins like that. Other than that, there's no really good use. And also it targets breakables. The ability targets breakables, so I think that prevents it from going up. Now Solar is gonna go below Imperialist. Solar has received a ton of nerfs, like you have to be seeing the enemy, the beam doesn't have as much range, and also damage decreased. So all that, I think it puts it below Imperialist. It does okay against breakables. It only does like 1 tick. It removes 1 tick from it, which is fine. Can't really bring this into later worlds if you want to clear a room quickly, because the whole beam probably just kills 1 enemy. So I think this is pretty deserved. Moon Sickle, alright, wait, Moon something, Moon Scythe, I don't know, Moon something, gets bottom of B tier. The ability is really nice, but it, like, what prevented it from going up is again the breakables. This ability's damage is pretty nice and the cooldown's pretty low. However, it can target breakables, which just loses you all the damage, so, and this is fine. Also, the M1 isn't that good, so it's kind of ability reliant. And finally, we have Cactus Blade. It's a short sword, so it's already a plus. And then the ability stuns for quite a while. I think if you have like recovery 3, you can infinite stun, and then the ability also lasts for a while. So if you get recovery 3, it can infinite stun. That's basically the selling point of this weapon. Other than that, it's just a pretty mid weapon. I wouldn't say it's ability reliant because it's a short sword, so you can just spam M1. That'll be it for this tier list. If you skip to the end to just ignore everything I said, I guess you don't know what Deathblade is. Anyways, thanks for watching the vid. Don't forget to subscribe. Only 8% of my viewers are subscribed, so it would mean a lot. Discord channel will be, not Discord channel, Discord server will be in the link in, bro, I can't even English anymore. Discord server will be linked in the description. Okay. Also, don't forget to use code Infer, and I'll see you in the next one.